Hello guys. Welcome back. The film The Man Called Otto strikes the realization of why someone feels alone in a world crowded with billions of humans. The movie examines how compassion and charity, as well as loss, may change a person around love, loss, and life. In the opening scene of the film, we see a man named Otto Anderson at a hardware store buying some stuff. He buys a hook and 5 feet of rope. When he goes to pay, he complains to the cashier that he is being overcharged a few cents more for a piece of rope. The cashier informs him that they measure in yards, not feet. Otto engages in a verbal fight with the cashier. Otto does not lack money, but he is a stickler for rules. Otto, for his rude behavior, is known in his neighborhood as a bitter and angry man. He lives alone because he does not have a family. Otto believes that everything should be in its place, but the world is not as he desires, so that is why he cannot adopt the environment. He does not like the newspaper in front of his door, especially when the dog is pissed on it. Every day, he wakes up early, takes tea, and leaves for a walk after shaving his face. He collects newspapers thrown by Malcolm and puts them in the dustbin. He does not like Malcolm for 2 reasons. First, he throws newspapers, and second, he parks his bike anywhere. Jimmy is probably the only person with whom he does not fight. Every day, Jimmy reaches out to Otto, even though he considers everyone to be an idiot. He altercates with Barb because of her dog. Otto does not like anything. He neither likes his neighbors nor does he love animals, not even a cat at the door of his garage. On the day Otto reaches the factory for his job on his last day, his co-workers are waiting for him to celebrate his last day. When one of them cuts the cake, Otto gets angry and leaves them. He does not celebrate. Every day, he asks the bearer not to park his van in a residential row. Once, he receives a call from the insurance company. He drops the call and contacts the electricity service department. He asks them to cancel the electricity in his house and asks them to refund him because he pays for 24-hour electricity service, and today the supply of electricity has been cut off, which is against the policy. Later, he cleans his house and gets ready. He also wears his coat, and after watching himself in the mirror for a while, he picks up a coin from a small dish. He puts some newspapers on his mat. He drills in his ceiling to fix a hook. Then he tries to commit suicide. But as he takes the rope around his neck, he sees that his new neighbors are parking their cart in the wrong corner. He delays his suicide plan and reaches them. He interrupts them and gets angry as often as he does. He asks Marisol's husband, named Tommy, to get out of the car. He parks the cart swiftly, where he thinks it should be. He returns to finish his deed, but delays again. He sits on the sofa, picks up a book, recalls some voices, and begins to converse with himself. After a while, Marisol arrives with her husband, Tommy. She gives him a box of food. Otto asks why she is giving him food when he does not need it. She says that they are new neighbors, so this is a good way to introduce oneself. As he closes the door, Marisol puts her foot in the door. She complains to him that he is unfriendly. Otto says he is not. She says that Otto's words are like warm cuts. Otto denies, and he asks about food. Marisol tells him that this is a Mexican dish. Later, she tells him that they need a wrench. He comes out, walks to his garage, and gives them the wrench. He returns to his house again and enjoys the food that Marisol gave him. After having food, he finally tries to commit suicide again. He wraps the rope around his neck and hangs himself. He has memories of his life, including those of his father and his wife, Sonia, as he hangs. Before he dies, the hook holding the noose snaps, and Otto crashes to the floor. Again, he fails to die, and his suicide plan is delayed. He notices an advertisement for discounted flowers in the newspaper that is on the mat. Otto purchases the discounted flowers and arrives at the cemetery at his wife's grave. He stays here for a while, talking to her while she listens. He speaks of the greedy developers who are eyeing his town. Otto reminisces about himself as a young man. He fails his physical exam because of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. This is a genetic heart condition that he inherited from his father. His father also died of this disorder. At the railway station on his way back home, he spots Sonia, who drops her books on the way to the train. Otto picks up the book and chases her. On the train, he finds her and returns her book. She becomes happy and thanks him. He gets a seat in front of her. He introduces himself and tells her about his failure in the physical exam. Later, he realizes that he took the wrong train. Sonia gives him some change so he can pay for the ticket. She allows him to keep the change. This is the same coin that he keeps with himself always. After reminiscing about his past, he gets up and leaves the food box at Marisol's door, which she did give him. He returns and de-ices sidewalks around his house. He observes Barb throwing rocks at the cat because the cat scratches her dog. He reaches her and asks her if she throws more rocks, Then he will kick his dog on the roof. He enters his home and bands the tape to his ceiling, where he drilled. As he completes this, Marisol arrives again with her husband. She brings the food box again. After offering this, they ask for a ladder to fix their window, which does not open. He walks to his garage, and on the way, his other neighbor named Anita asks for his assistance to fix their heater, which he refuses. Marisol asks him not to be rude, but he ignores her. He locks his garage and arrives at Anita's home to fix their heater. Ruben, Anita's husband, intercepts Otto's plan when he looks at the garden hose in his hand. As Otto finishes his job and tries to leave, Ruben grabs his garden hose. After fixing their problem, Otto arrives at his garage. He tries to commit suicide again in his car with carbon monoxide. Here, before dying, he remembers the dinner he had with Sonia. He flashes back to the moment when Sonia kissed him when he was leaving after dinner. Before he dies, Marisol once again interrupts him. Otto hears Marisol banging on the garage's door. She tells him that Tommy fell from ladder, and she needs a ride to bring him to the hospital. He brings them to the hospital. Here, Otto sits with Luna and Abby. He reads them a story in a funny voice. A hospital entertaining clown reaches them and offers them some tricks. Otto gives him his coin to show them tricks. The clown makes the coin disappear, and Otto gets angry because the coin belongs to his wife. He attacks the clown physically. Otto becomes agitated. The hospital staff arrives to calm him down and return his coin. Marisol notices Otto smiling, but he denies it. When they arrive back, they thank Otto. The next day, when Otto is cleaning ice, Marisol notices the cat is dying because of the cold. She tells Otto, who replies that she is sleeping. Jimmy arrives, and Marisol tells him about it. Jimmy brings the cat to Otto's home. Otto tells them he is not going to take the burden of the cat. Marisol tries to find the heater. She finds a nice stove. Jimmy tells her that Otto got it for his wife, who passed away. Later, Otto gets agitated and shows up at the door. He asks Jimmy to bring the cat with him. As he looks at Sonia's clothes, which remind him of his days when he completed his graduation in engineering, he asks Sonia to marry him. He arrives at the train station. He walks to the train tracks to commit suicide. Before the train arrives, an old man falls on the tracks. People just film the man, but Otto jumps the tracks to help him, but he stays here, waiting for the train to hit him. People grab him and save his life. His video goes viral, and he becomes a hero for his help. Otto returns, and Marisol approaches him. She gives him the drawing, which Abby made for him. After this, as usual, she wants his help, asking him to be her driving assistant, which he refuses. Jimmy also comes, and he asks Otto to keep the cat. He pays a visit to his wife's grave with the cat. He stays a while as usual and talks to himself. As he returns, he prepares to go to sleep. The cat persists in sleeping on the bed at Sonia's place. Once again, he argues with Malcolm about the newspaper. He asks him not to do it, to which Malcolm replies that this is his job. He tells him that, in the event of not doing it, he would be unemployed. Malcolm tells Otto that Sonia was his teacher. She was the first person to acknowledge his transgender identity and encouraged others to do so. The next day, Otto reaches Marisol's home and offers to teach her to drive. She becomes happy. He teaches her to drive. He brings her to a bakery and serves her cakes. Here, he shares some memories with Sonia. Later, Marisol requests that he babysit her kids for a day because she has to go anywhere with her husband. He does not refuse this. He stays with their kids and plays with them. He keeps them happy. He also helps Malcolm fix his bicycle. A day, a journalist approaches Otto to interview him about the incident of saving an old man's life on the train station. He refuses to give her an interview. Marisol also appears at that time. As the journalist leaves, Marisol gossips a bit with Otto. She offers him to clean his home because he has done a lot for them, which Otto refuses. When Otto sees the builder driving on residential footpaths, he blocks his way. The builder talks about his wife and his heart disorder, which makes Otto angry. He gets upset over it and runs to his home. Marisol notices this and reaches for his door. She keeps knocking, but he does not listen. He remembers the beautiful moments with his wife, Sonia. He takes his gun and charges it with bullets. He gets ready to commit suicide. He keeps reminiscing about the days he spent with his wife. He also flashes back to the incident when their bus crashed and they met with an accident that left his wife paralyzed for months and they lost their baby. Suddenly Malcolm knocks on the door, and once again he missed the chance to commit suicide. Malcolm asks for permission to live in his home because his father has refused because he is transgender. Otto allows him to stay at his home as long as he wants. In the morning, as he wakes up, he sees that Malcolm has given the cat her feed and is preparing breakfast. Now Otto becomes a bit friendly. Otto gets him out and tells him his rules. Outside, as usual, Jimmy meets Otto. Jimmy tells him that Anita's son, who lives in Japan, is selling their house to the builder, who is ready to make them homeless. Otto approaches Anita and promises to help. Then he reaches Marisol and asks her to let him use their phone. She complains to him about his rude attitude. He tells her about Anita's problem. Marisol let him in. She gives him her phone. At that moment, he tells her about tragic accident that did cause their baby to lose, and his wife was paralyzed. He calls the journalist who visited him for interview. The journalist arrives before the builder comes. The builder comes in his company's van. He talks to Anita about their home. When he realizes that Jimmy and others are recording videos, he gets a bit nervous. When Otto asks how he knows about his wife's death and his inborn heart disorder, the builder walks away. As the builder leaves and everyone feels victorious, Otto collapses from his heart condition. Marisol, at the hospital, is informed that she is enlisted as Otto's kin. A cardiacologist tells Marisol that Otto has an enlarged heart, to which Marisol laughs at the irony of somebody like Otto having too big of heart. At that moment, Marisol gives birth to a baby. Otto presents them with a crib for a new baby. Otto gifts Malcolm his car. He also writes a letter for Marisol. One day, Tommy notices that Otto has not shoveled the snow off his walk. They reach Otto and find him dead. Marisol cries and drops her tears off her checks. Tommy gets the letter Otto wrote for Marisol. In a letter, he declares everything he owns to Marisol. Marisol and all the others arrange a funeral and bury Otto besides his wife. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe. Take care, and see you next time.